Up next, a conversation with Pablo Asensio, who helps startups and scale-ups with increasing annual revenue. He is extremely passionate about websites and product-led growth, which I think are two huge topics that made this conversation so good. We dive into many difficult questions, such as how do you even know that the website is a problem? How to think of a business website through that PLG lens? Or what's the second most important page on the website? Pricing. And what about it? How to make the pricing page an appealing page? What is a good basis for a converting landing page? And there's so many questions, nuances, and lessons that he brings from work that he's done for large corporations and smaller businesses that we jump all over the place. But because the topic is so complicated, I mean, websites overlap many business domains, and they reach sales, marketing, operations, customer, product, like everything in between. So even though it might seem like we're hopping from subject to subject, I think collectively the entire chat will give you so much value within just 1 hour that you will leave the conversation with many takeaways that you can apply at work right away, but also some food for thought that you can hopefully follow up in a comment or two. So without further ado, please enjoy my chat with Pablo. And as always, I will see you on the other side. What I wanted to talk to you about first, there are many ways to start this conversation. Really, I mean, website as a concept, it overlaps so many parts of a business, and I mean, it's just crazy complicated and multi-layered topic. Since you have a huge passion for helping PLG, which is product-led growth companies with website strategy, marketing, whatever you need to help them with, I would like to put websites through that kind of lens, to make it very specific for PLGs. Generally speaking, how should we think about a business website through that kind of PLG growth lens? What's the role of a website? How may it differ to sales-led companies or marketing-led companies? Just anything on the high level for now. Could you help us out a bit with that?
Absolutely. But first of all, thank you, Thomas, to have me on the podcast. As
Awesome.
you say, we met in a completely different setup a few months ago. And
Yeah.
I've been following your journey since then, and I'm super happy that I'm here as a guest. But yeah, you have a very valid point, because what I notice is that many companies, especially companies that they are on the PLG side, they forget about the value of the website. And the website is a very strong channel, and I would say it's not really a project, it's a product for that company. So the role of the website basically is to clarify the value proposition that business is offering to their prospects and customers, and to make sure that there is a narrative there that kind of resonates with the pain points of those visitors to the website, in a way that also is the part of the funnel to convert those prospects into potentially leads and then customers. So I think back to the point, what's the main difference between PLG and sales-led companies as well? Mm-hmm. I would say that that it's not much difference in an ideal scenario, but in reality there is a big difference. And I can see that many SaaS companies that they have a very strong product and they rely a lot on product-led growth. They have a big mistake, and it's like, well, we have a website, we have a very good product. I mean, we have the best product managers in town. I mean, we have an amazing experience with users. But yeah, we have a lot of features. I mean, let's put the website with lots of features. Let's show off. We have great developers, quite expensive, but very good developers. Mm-hmm. Come on, let's show that. Let's show that. Yeah, you see our competitor. I mean, we have double the number of features. And that is something I don't know. I mean, some people think I'm a bit too much on this, because I always say, like, more features doesn't mean more sales.
Yeah.
And also, especially if your product is complex, I mean, you really have to solve your target audience, like why me and not the competitor next door. And also, it's not only about competition; it's about alternatives, because sometimes it's not like a like by like competitor that can steal your customers. It could be, I mean, another alternative. I mean, think of Spotify, for instance. Is obviously there are few competitors in the area, but there are other alternatives, which is a record player and so on. By the way, you will see I use Spotify a lot as an example, not only because they are a great example for many things, but also because I love music. But
Okay, wow.
that's a different topic. Don't get me started.
That's fine.
So yeah, back to your initial question. I would say that the role of the website for a PLG company is basically to create that kind of narrative, clarify what's the pain point of the user that is going to be solved with the product that you are serving, and also get the website as part of the funnel. So I mean, you want the visitors not just to understand, oh, okay, my company is doing XYZ. You want the visitors to take an action, and depending on the complexity of the product, depending on many other factors, the action could be either from book a call or like download some kind of content which is relevant to the prospect, or just sign up for the product either on a paid version or a free version. I mean, obviously it depends quite a lot, but ultimately what we want is that the website helps our business to convert visitors into loyal customers. I mean, obviously it's many steps in between. And it's funny also when I mention like, okay, yeah, in an ideal world, PLG and SLG is not such a difference kind of way for a website. I would say that is for a PLG company, the website is the most powerful salesperson that they will have, because it's going to work there 24/7.
Absolutely.
So I feel that there are great businesses out there that they have a website which is not equal to the product, because for many founders I can see that the website is just something on the way. It's something, oh, we really have to do a website, but we just want to get it out of the way soon. And you know that because I mean you work with many clients and say, oh, damn it, we have to do a website, because I mean, who doesn't have a website these days?
Yeah, sure.
Come on, can you do a website? Can you do cheap and quick for me? I mean, that's a big mistake, because as I say, the website is not just an online brochure. The website is a salesperson, or well, not person in this case, but it's a very strong sales tool that any company, product or service has. And it's a shame that many founders and directors they don't see that value. Hence, is they're missing an opportunity.
I agree, and I can certainly appreciate the comment about indecision. The companies, the founders, marketers, and whoever's in charge of that kind of investment, they delay that website, and that works against them. Now, I see many founders, I guess, maybe not believing in marketing as such. I don't know how to put it nicely, but websites are inevitably a marketing tool, and sales tool for that matter. And I think the sooner you introduce that tool as a part of the funnel, part of the journey, the same pull as the sales calls, cold outreach, everything else that's going on, you will gain those benefits faster, and you will learn from your mistakes faster, so you can make that website even more powerful. You mentioned part of the funnel as a phrase. Which part? I imagine many parts, but maybe one in particular. I don't know. Tell me.
That's a very good question, because again, it depends a bit on the product as well. I mean, but it covers the whole funnel, top, middle, and bottom of the funnel. I mean, obviously, especially if we think of early stage companies, it's the top of the funnel where you want the user basically to start the journey with your product there. But there are also examples, at different parts of the funnel. And for instance, I thinking now of a HR company that I used to work with them on an advisory role. I mean, they were quite effective in terms of sales. Actually, they were a sales-led company, but they kind of struggled to get people to see the value that they got, and to I mean, when they have a quite complex product on the HR space. I mean, HR is a very diverse space.
Sure.
one of the ways to get there, then it was through events, and they ended on the website because they had a kind of series of like resources, like white papers, case studies, and so on, which of course, as I say, they went to an event and they say, okay, how we can basically get access to these people to this, and it was through a QR code and all of that. So eventually it was people that they went to that HR event that these guys organized, so they were not top of the funnel because they already know the company, but it was some kind of takeaway that they got home. So that was a good example of at a different part of the funnel where you also can help push people down the funnel, basically.
So first of all, I guess if I'm understanding you correctly, you need to realize the intent behind website visitors first to create a journey and I guess meet their expectations with content and value proposition. To how did you say? Did you say like create the narrative
Exactly
that fits their message, fits their world? How do we know that website is a problem? And I might just elaborate very quickly, because for example, you said companies have many features, more sales, right? Like this kind of I guess vision or maybe belief. How do we know website is the problem and not something before it? Like how do you put the finger on it? And to what extent can a website help?
That's a very good question, because of course, if the product or service you are offering is solving a problem or is super niche, you can have the best website out there, that's not going to fix the problem. So I would say that providing that there is a good product, I mean, I would say that the what it really shows that the website is not working is looking into metrics like bounce rate, time in the website, but especially seeing how many people they interact with the website. I mean, another, actually we can talk about more later, but another issue I see a lot is maybe not clear call to action on websites, or very weak call to action, which is for me one of the most critical bits for any website. So I would say that if your website is not really like, oh wow, we don't have much traffic. I mean, let's face it, especially for early stage startups. I mean, you are not going to get like 1 million visitors out of the blue, and getting traffic. It requires quite a lot of work. I mean, with this content and SEO and so on. But it's mostly for the traffic that you drive. I mean, what do they do with the website? They just basically come and go. If they don't look into any of the different pages you got, if they don't basically, especially if they don't take any action, and hence the importance of the call to action, then the website is not really, it's basically ticking the box of, oh, we have a website. It's what we discussed before. It's like, oh, we just need a website because but our product is basically an app, or our product is basically a other kind of service or whatever, but we just need a website.
So when you say all of this, it makes me think, and maybe that's a good follow-up question. Can website, or how do you feel about website feeding back into the business in regards to, hey, your product is too complicated, rather than the business telling website to market the complicated product? Is there like some kind of symbiosis in there, or is it one-way street?
Yeah, of course. I mean, and it's really good point, because it's also connected to your previous question. I mean, if the website is not really converting, I mean, it means that the business, they have to reset the way that they position themselves to out the market. And also that's also something interesting as well, because sometimes the website helps as well to identify maybe other channels that are not working fine. But on the website, you have a total domain of that. I mean, in social media, you are competing with other kind of companies in events, or any other kind of channel. But when it comes to the website, I mean, is your own. It's your own domain, and it's your own kind of real estate. I mean, no one is really competing. So definitely, the business can learn quite a lot in terms like, let's say, if the value proposition is displayed in a very technical way, or say focusing too much on features and not on pain points of the users. People in the website, they basically go there, don't do anything, they ignore it. Then you feel like, okay, well, maybe also we should check as well the value proposition we got across different channels, because of course in different channels you have to modulate your message, you have to modulate how you approach the target audience for each of those. But of course, if on the website where you don't have any other kinds of interactions and so on, people they get distracted and people they go. That means that the business has to improve a lot of messaging and has to improve a lot in terms of clarity of the problem that they are solving. So I think those metrics can tell us, hey, we basically changed the copy of the website 2 months ago, bounce rate treble, conversions to leads went down by 80%. Then definitely is obviously a very extreme example, but it means that something is wrong there. And I will tell you maybe another common example issue I see quite a lot is, the hero message of the website. It's kind of like the prime property, and that's something that everyone has an opinion in every company.
Sure.
But the hero banner, is, people they have to get. Have you heard about the 5-second test?
No, I haven't. Please tell me.
Okay, it's basically a test for any kind of product where people say, okay, can people understand your value in 5 seconds or less? So obviously the hero has a big role of that, because people land on the page and they just see the hero. And that's the thing. Many companies they get quite cocky on this. In a way that they feel, oh, Nike has just do it. We can have something funky, something really nice. Especially brown people, they get very, very excited with this. But Nike can just do it because they've been doing it for 50 plus years, and everyone knows they don't even have to use their name. They use the Schwartz, and that's all.
That's it. Yeah.
But if you are a new kid in town, you really have to specify what you do. And you have a funky hero. That's not going to get you far. So as I say, just many founders and marketers, they think the hero banner is the first chance to shine, but it actually backfires, and it's the first chance to lose the attention of those people.
It's very interesting, and let me just go back for a second. Just a couple of minutes ago, you said product market fit. Do you feel like websites should be thought about, or I guess invested in, after you found product market fit? Or is that the sweet spot, and then you kind of use the website as maybe a way to figure out the messaging for the company? Or like, imagine positioning, messaging, and product market fit, and where do you see website overlap in there?
Well, I think that the short answer is in every stage of those, because and the good thing is websites can be very, very dynamic. It's very easy to change not just the design, but the content and the approach of the website. But the website is a dynamic driver of customer engagement. So you need that at every stage of the company, before product market fit, once you get product market fit, and once you are really scaling up. So that's also in terms of when it comes to the approach of the website, it will change over time. And again, if you are an early stage web company that have a very small customer base, and you are trying to challenge the status quo in certain market, you really have to be very clear, very specific. Also keep it simple in a way not to overwhelm people with many features. So basically say, look, we are here to solve this problem, and you have this problem, we are here to solve it. Whereas, as you evolve, you can obviously change the approach of the website, and maybe you don't have to give much more detail in terms of the narrative. Again, Nike is a good example. I know we go into retail and e-commerce, but that's a very good example. But still they have a different way to show you that they are solving your pain point, they are solving your problem, and your problem is basically like, look, I want to be healthier, and I want to have a healthy lifestyle, or I want to be cool, because it's not sports clothes. It's not only about being healthy; it's about being cool. Or sometimes people even buy a tracksuit to be at home watching telly. So they know how to solve the problem, but of course at a different stage of the business growth. You have to adapt that, and that's the beauty of any website. That you can easily change that. You can test. You can do not only A/B testing. You can basically have, of course, with some kind of user testing of prototypes. So right now, there is no excuse to have a website which is serving not only your customers' pain point, but also serving the different stage of your business. There is no excuse for that. It's very easy to. I mean, I know maybe it sounds too good to be true, but that's what I love of websites. That they are very adaptable. You can measure and track everything. With other channels, of course, now it's much better than 10, 20 years ago. But still, if you do a campaign on television, I mean, if you want to change it, it's not that easy. If you want to track, you can track things now, but not to the level of the detail of you can get with a website. And of course, if we talk about price, then
Sure.
no, there is no rival for a website.
No, thanks. That's good. The website is, as you said, your own real estate, and you can make it into whatever you need it to be. And that's probably my favorite part about website. It's just so flexible and powerful at the same time. And with the CMSs that we have right now out there, whether that's no code, low code, or even bespoke systems, if you went for, I don't know, WordPress or whatever, you can just test things with clicks. Honestly, like there's hardly any excuse to not test and see how things work out. Sure, you probably have to get creative when you don't have traffic, and we can maybe we can dive into that as well. But certainly, website is that kind of user feedback tool that can feed back into your product, into your business decision making, which is awesome. Whether you're a startup or a, I don't know, scale up, depending on where you're on the state, you still have to consider like user activation and where the website is within the funnel. There is a difference between talking to software developers or postal carriers, right? It's in terms of the number of stakeholders on the buyer's journey with the user activation journey. How do you think of that aspect when designing a website? How do you I'm just trying to understand, when you build a website for software developers, the user journey is very straightforward. You can ask them what they want to hear, what to download, and what to convert from. Simples. When you have multiple stakeholders, there's never a decision made within one website session, most likely. There's different people coming in and out to download stuff, to learn stuff, find out the information, to not veto the project. How do you build a website to account for that kind of complexity on the buyer's end?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I've been there a few times, and what I learned over the years is someone basically have to take the lead within the team to build that website and to have the ownership of that. I mean, I can see those websites built by committee that lots of people they jump into that. Oh, I have this head. Yeah, I have this idea. Oh, let's change the colors of this and so on. So obviously, someone has to look into the website, back to what we mentioned before. As a product, not as a project. Because as a project, the website will never really optimize the value that they can bring to a business. So my take is, if you are in charge, I mean, I'm thinking now maybe like any marketers, like they're looking into this. If you are in charge of the project, don't think it's a project, think it's a product. Make sure that you stick to your guns in terms of, okay, what is the purpose of the website? I mean, how is the website going to help to grow the business? Also use as much data as possible to back your kind of roadmap, basically, for the website. And when it comes to data, also not just what you find in terms of qualitative, also research as well, because you have to do research. I mean, in terms, which again sounds very overwhelming, but I mean these days is very easy as well to. I mean, if you get not just if you start from scratch and you don't have any customer, you always can get people that can be keen to. I mean, spend like 30 minutes with you and do some kind of like a research session with that, and it doesn't cost much these days. But still, if you thinking mostly of startups that they already have some a customer volume. I mean, use that, but sometimes you don't even have to do the sessions. I mean, again, looking into the analytics from Google Analytics or expanded amplitude will tell you quite a lot. But especially when it comes to positioning and showing the value and so on, my recommendation for whoever is in charge of the product, which is the website, is to, again, be very, very strong when it comes to say, look, we are here to showcase how to showcase how the business is solving a problem, solving a pain point for the visitor, and we have to get that visitor into our funnel. So we have to get a cold visitor into a warm lead, and of course there will be a few points, and eventually, depending on your product, potentially even convert them into that. So you have to make sure that everyone in the business understand that is a website is not an online brochure. It's basically, as I said before, it's a sales tool, and hence the website has to serve that. Thinking especially of these SaaS products and PLG companies, because otherwise, if you fall into the trap of, oh yeah, we have 25 amazing features, let's list them, all of them. I mean, people will get overwhelmed. I mean, let's face it, is your website is not a business card. I mean, it's a dynamic lead machine.
Yeah, I really like the idea of thinking about websites as products. That's very, very interesting. It's like a subtle shift in the mindset, because it implies it's never done. And that's very interesting. I might steal it. I don't know. It's really good. Thanks.
No, it's okay.
I appreciate it. Is it valid to say that someone in charge of a website is essentially product manager, or like someone? I mean, it ties back to the concept of design by committee. There needs to be someone who leads the website efforts and listens to all the external and internal feedback and compresses them and digests them, and then sort of pulls on those that make the most impact for the business and for the product and sales. And that sounds very important role, like literally someone who makes it or breaks it. Have you got any words for those people, like how to deal with the pressure there, how to prioritize what to do?
Yeah, no, I mean that I think that's it sounds very kind of overwhelming, but it's not at the end of the day, because think of any other kind of marketing channel. I mean, think of paid social media. Think of I don't know, like SEO, which is actually very, very close to the website. Everyone who is managing that part is basically doing that with some objectives in mind, and the objectives, hopefully, they will be aligned with the business objectives, which is like, look, we have to increase number of customers in those new markets, or we will have to increase the margin, I mean, or the revenue. So the website has to follow that, and you are completely right. In many businesses, they don't see it that way, and everyone has an opinion about the website, because we all use websites every day. So it's like, yeah, we all know about websites. Oh yeah, this website looks okay, but it looks better if you change this and that. So, and that's why I say that whoever is in charge of the website has to be very close to the reality, which is given by data and by users. And if basically that person goes to that committee and basically say, look, from our current website, we see that people, they only interact with the top part of the homepage. They never go to the other pages. They never click on the call to action. We have to change this. And I mean, based on the initial research I did, this is kind of my fundamentals. Also, this is also intended. I mean, the main target of the company in the next quarter is to grow the revenue by 25%. So the idea is, to get more people going through the funnel as quick as possible, and to get more conversions and more customers. So, because also the other bit is when people, they think they have a good website and they want a great website, and they don't look into, again, the numbers, conversions, traffic, or whatever.
Yeah, they probably don't know what great means, to be honest.
Yeah, or they think great is a very funky website, because I actually saw yesterday the website of excuse me, the website of Nike. Oh, I love those
Stripe.com,
imagery.
my favorite
Yeah,
example. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That's like,
Excuse me.
look, I don't mind looking into, I don't mind looking for inspiration within the industry,
Yeah,
but I think you have to step out of that industry uh for something new and fresh, and connect the dots that way to create a website that's actually unique and different, and not only aesthetically pleasing but also functional. I think
yeah,
this is the part. Some people, I think they live under the impression that blending aesthetics and functionality is impossible. You have to lean one way or another, and if you go for functional, you end up with a black and white wireframe, and if you go for aesthetics, you go full blown animations, but there's no merit. I really think there is you can merge those two. It just
yeah.
requires a process, and that's really it. And my favorite way to avoid design by committee is simply getting people into the same room and running a workshop, because that means you have a facilitator, you have a decision maker in the room, and you obviously decide who is the decision maker. You give them the power, and everyone else there act like experts. They pitch in, they feed in their ideas, etc., and eventually people can find the answer and find the way forward, start singing from the same page. But if you listen to everyone on the team separately, sort of one-to-one interviews, they will all have different expectations, different agendas, different preferences, and don't get me started on colors and size of buttons, etc. This is
Yeah.
wasting of time. That's it. So I totally relate to what you said. And speaking of USP and the homepage, now we obviously established, and I guess we all know the homepage is the most important page on the website. That's where you most likely drive the traffic. That's what has the most authority in Google's eyes in SEO. Homepage is the G. Okay. Which is the second most important page in your opinion?
Okay, that's a clear answer for me. I would
Is it
say is the pricing page.
pricing page? Why is that?
Uh, well, I mean, pricing is the most underrated growth lever of all. I mean, you can influence so much by changing your plans. If you again talking mostly of SaaS products,
Sure.
changing your price, your plans, and it's not just obviously on the impact on your revenue. It's the impact on the perception that the customer got. And of course, you have to find the sweet spot in terms of, okay, if I decrease my price, maybe I get more people, but then of course my business is going to be affected and so on. But there are lots of pricing tricks from the psychological point of view. And if we start to talk about that, from 99 instead of 100, and
Yeah.
obviously, if it's a monthly subscription, give a discount like 20% or 2 months for free if they got the yield team. But then, of course, it's about the plans that you offer and how do you present those. Like, I mean, you probably see many SaaS, they have like usually like 3 plans, 4 plans maximum.
Yes.
And that's for a reason. And usually one of them is most popular or recommended
Yes,
or
that's
whatever.
true. The bigger one, yeah.
I can assure you, because I test this many times in different companies, that works.
It does.
Because it basically, again, is the user psychology, in terms of if you help me to decide, it's more likely I will take a decision. But if I'm going there to the pricing page, I see not 3 plans, but I see 25 plans, each one with like very long columns with lots of features and so on. I say, oh, okay, I need a couple of hours to study this. Actually, I have to go now, but yeah, I will look this over the weekend. So keep the pricing page like very clear in terms like, back to the 5 seconds rule. After 5 seconds, you have to be already kind of aligned with one of the plans. Say, oh, actually, the premium plan is the right plan for me. Okay, let me have a look to the other one just in case, if I can save a bit of money, or let me go look for the super premium because maybe it's more value. But you really have to point people into the right place. And again, these days you can do a lot of experimentations. I mean, one company that is really good on that is Lemlist. They are really good with changing price plans. I mean, you are in East London, I'm in North London. Maybe we even have different pricing plans depending on our user journey. So that's a good one. But I mean, there are lots of tricks. But the most important thing is, pricing is not just a number. I mean, it's because we talk about obviously changing and experimenting, but the pricing is the reflection of your value story. I mean, the value that you offer to your users. And I saw many, I saw many companies that they shoot into the fit because they offer very low price because they just want to get the market. And in some cases, they can be seen as okay, this is too cheap. Probably the value is not really good. So you really have to build a narrative around the value. So yeah, I'm mentioning it's another SaaS company I've been advising in the last few months. When I start working with them, they have. I was very surprised before I talked with them. I look into the website. I say, look, compared to some competitors on that space, they offer a super low price on the education services. I mean, why so cheap? Because I look in terms of what they offer and so on. I mean, they were kind of competing to more established companies, and they told me, no, we really want to get new customers through the door. And I said, well, maybe that's not the right model. I mean, obviously, much more to this to another discussion, but maybe you have to offer a freemium model and so on. But you told me as well about the economics and the business. In terms of for the business to be profitable, you will need millions of people to be this. And if you want to compete on price, that's completely fine, and especially as a newcomer. But you don't have to go like like in this case, it was maybe 10-20% of the value of the competitors. And I will tell you which industry saw me this. Early in my career, I mean, actually, when I moved to London 20 years ago, I worked for Unibet, which is a great company in the sports betting space. But my first work was not in marketing, was in the trading department. So without watching any events and anything like that, I have to put. I always love numbers and and spreadsheets and all of that. And you will be surprised, those people, they don't watch games. They basically put the odds for the games based on existing data, and then they do adjustments and predictions. I mean, it's a very that's maybe for another podcast. And basically, I learned there that if you have the best price. If you have the best price for a particular event or whatever, or a particular outcome, I mean, you don't have to offer again like 10-20% of the cheapest option. If you offer 10% less, not of the total, but 10% less of what your competitor does, I mean, that's attractive enough for people to say, oh, I'm looking for the cheapest option. Those guys are cheaper than anyone else. I mean, that's the thing is you don't really have to put yourself really loud, because that will affect the perception that people got of the value. Like, oh, how can it so cheap? I mean, that's really, I mean, what's wrong here? So that's basically what you have to do. So yeah, pricing for me is the second most important page, and again, it's one that is really undervalued, but many does. And of course, we can talk, of course, in terms of freemium model versus free trial and so on. It really depends on your business. Again, it's one thing I'm really passionate to also test with some of the clients I work with. But of course, you'll have to investigate a little bit what really ticks your user. You will have to do a bit of experiments as well. But luckily, in 2024, that's very straightforward. 20 years ago, it was a different animal.
Oh, I bet. I can't even imagine approaching this complicated topic 20 years ago without all the tools we have right now. It must have been really a chore. And from what you're saying, there's no other way but to iterate, constantly change, check, and flip, and I don't know, just constantly play around with and seeing what actually lands. So you said that the pricing card which is recommended really works. Have you got any other quick tips like this that you found very impactful but easy to implement?
For the pricing page or for other bits?
Yeah.
Pricing page, well, it's not that quick to implement, but definitely make sure that if your product is self-service, there is as less friction as possible on the, from the click, like I want this plan to get activated. Ideally, I mean, of course, I mean, it's a business decision, but it pays off. Get the credit card paywall at the end.
Oh,
not at
really?
the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the earlier you got it on the funnel, the most likely people will drop.
Oh, that's
But yeah,
interesting. How do you feel about letting people sign up to trial and then asking for credit card whenever they're ready to buy? Is that too forgiving or?
well, no, I mean it's basically you have to again work on the. I mean, you have to warm up that person, and when they basically they do all the steps and try to obviously keep as many as little steps as possible, which in some products is not that easy, especially thinking of regulated industries like financial services and
Mm-hmm.
insurance and so on. But still, you can do for all other kinds of business. Uh, but yeah, I saw many SaaS that say, "Oh, I want I don't know, this entry plan, which is, I don't know, like $50 a month.
Mm-hmm.
I want this plan." And the first thing they ask me is for my credit card details, which again, maybe I don't mind to give because I'm ready to that. But okay, make sure that, is, I mean, sometimes people, they need a bit of information in terms of understanding, okay, you are part of the entry plan, rather than have the Stripe or the PayPal paywall, make sure that, you remind them why they signed for.
Mm-hmm. So okay, now I think the whole picture is coming together in my head. So people land on your homepage, and obviously you have the value proposition that talks to the pain point, that talks to the persona. It's very clear. No grow faster kind of buzzwords. Just say what it is, say what you do. That's it. And then homepage, obviously all other sections below, they create that narrative. They, I guess, weed out low quality leads as well, because the traffic might not always be perfect. The person might not be the ideal customer, so you want that website to bounce them back essentially. And then when they have the idea of what you do and how you do it, there might be like an interim step in my head where you kind of visit the feature page for particular persona. For example, who is it for? And you click agency in my case, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of learn like how exactly the product solves my problems, but we're already down the funnel. And then you eventually land on the pricing page, which is the buying signal. It's as if you were having a sales call with a guy and they asked you, okay, how much? Well, this is the pricing page moment, right? And from there, you really want to make sure that the person progresses further. Like this is the warmest as you can get on a website. So, any advice there? You said no credit card. Anything else in terms of volume of data did you ask up front? Maybe uh, any hoops that you don't want person to jump through? Like, tell me.
Yes, very good question. I would try to keep it as lean as possible in terms of those kinds of steps,
Mm-hmm.
which again, for certain industries is not that straightforward, because they are regulated. But the first thing to basically get is also the email of the person, because if they drop by any reason,
Mm-hmm.
you can retarget them. So
Makes
that's
sense.
that's 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 a way as well to, and you can retarget them in many ways these days.
Mm-hmm.
So that's for me the main tip I would give in terms of, okay, the data points. Then try to figure out, okay, how many data points you need from the user to make the experience, I mean, the experience of the user to make it excellent. But the point is, like, do you need to ask for that now, or can you ask at a certain stage? Because there are many, and again, companies like Figma or Miro, they are really good on that.
Sure.
Basically they get you started, but there are certain information that if you are happy to give it, they will ask you for that. If not, you can add it later on. So think as well, like, what is the fundamental information you need at this stage to get this person started? And then you will have other opportunities and touch points to collect the rest of the information to make the experience excellent to them.
Hmm. How do you feel about signups through, let's say, LinkedIn? Is that something you would recommend for ease of use, or is that somehow dodgy in most? Like, tell me, is this something you've practiced?
Yeah, I mean, one mostly through obviously Google.
Mm-hmm.
Google sign up is kind of the old field is very very common these days. But I would say that I don't think it's dodgy in 2024. I mean, I think people now they are more used to that. Again, depends a lot on your product.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, these days probably it's also a way to streamline the onboarding, because from the experience I got, like, one of the clients I work, I mean, most of the signups, they come from people that they send through Google or LinkedIn. The I would say that, for certain products, it also makes more sense to, if they have to capture the data from LinkedIn and so on, is a good way to secure that, that data is integrated as well.
Okay. So we now have an entire overview of the funnel. We know someone landed on the website, they read about the product, and all of that. Let's circle back a bit to the benefit feature kind of discussion. Where do you sit on that one? Do you lean more towards benefits, more towards feature, or do you think there's place for both, but in different stages? How do you advise on that?
I would say that, features, they don't sell themselves. Like,
Mm.
what really matters is how those features, they solve the customer's problem. So I will basically align with the benefits bit, especially for companies that they have to make their name
Mm-hmm.
in a certain industry or space. Obviously, features is nice to explain what you have, but again, back to the example of Spotify. How many users has Spotify these days? Millions,
Oh
if not
my
billions
god.
these days. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy number.
How many of those do you think that they are familiar with the concept of streaming?
Uh, if I was to guess, I'd say probably like 20 to 30%. I don't know. Yeah.
Again, the problem, or well, the need that the Spotify users got is, we want to listen to as much music as possible on
That's it.
demand and with the
Yeah.
convenience.
Yeah.
They don't care if it's streaming, if it's a guy singing behind them, or you name it. Likewise, now obviously, I think a very good example is Google. I mean, again, I know we go obviously for big names here, but
Mm-hmm.
obviously Google, they don't have to explain what they do, but they basically put the product in front of you, and they ask you to search something, because your problem is, or your need is, to find an answer for something. And I think with AI, we also can see a lot of evolution on that. But again, like for instance, many companies that on the AI space or the crypto space, they focus a lot on the features, and they forget that people, they go to them for a reason. So that's why I say, like, features are important, but what people care about is not about the feature of someone else. It's
Hmm.
about, I don't care about your features, Thomas. I care
Yeah.
about my problem or my
Yeah.
pain point. And I think that's something that we should keep in mind constantly, in terms of explain that, yeah, we are here to solve the problem of this user who comes to the website for a reason. And also, on that, again, I think the challenge here, back to this person who is basically leading on the product
Uh-huh.
or the website,
Uh-huh.
the problem for this person is, or the challenge is, to make sure that the website doesn't become like feature heavy, because it's very tempting, like,
Oh yeah.
for any company. Oh, we just have a new kind of feature, people will love it, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Again, people will love it if it solves a problem. If not, it's not going to cut anything. Is so. I would say that, that person has to be strong in terms of have also holistic view of the website, in terms of, okay, we are here not to showcase how good are the developers and project managers.
Mm-hmm.
We are basically here to help you to solve your needs, to your problem. That's
I
basically.
think as a founder myself, I would often fall into the trap that I want to say everything. And like literally we do so much and we can help you with so many things, and we essentially become everything to everyone, and that's not a good thing. And the way I've seen companies solve the problem, they focus on literally top 3 4 pain points for every product, or for every service that they provide, and then if there's anything extra, they would just put it down as a kind of like a grid, or maybe as a FAQ section, or they would maybe follow up on that with a sales call, depending on the sales strategy. Obviously, one example that comes to my head is Hotjar. I mean, imagine how many things can Hotjar do for you. And they recently acquired the user testing platform. They called it Hotjar Engage, I think. That's like an extra benefit, that tool, I guess, that comes with their stack once you subscribe. It's just crazy huge tool. I mean, you can go for ClickUp, which is, again, it's a tool that does everything for you in terms of project management, code management, like crazy. CRMs are probably another type of software that can do so many things. So I think one way to solve this is to literally focus on 2 3 things that you think are very important to that particular persona, and go for them. Just double down on them, show the screenshots, show the list of benefits, features that support those benefits, and then anything else that comes extra, follow up later. Don't overwhelm, because that overwhelm will scare them away. I think that would be my advice for especially founders, because they are too close to it. They are
Yeah,
so excited, and they wear so many hats, and there's no way you can do it all at the same time, right? It
yeah,
just, yeah, that'd be my I guess 5 cents.
absolutely. Can I double down on that?
Sure.
I also would say, because we didn't tap into that, but I think in order to build that narrative and to show the value and the, how do you solve the problem,
Mm-hmm.
the I mean, a quick fix, and again, some companies, they are very good on this, others not so good. But for any founder, I always recommend to leverage the customer testimonials they got and the social proof.
Mm.
That's super important. Again, thinking of early stage companies, because also what's back to the user psychology, which for me is the most exciting bit of any marketing activity. Again, if I have a problem, a pain point, a need, and I go to a website of a product that somehow I think that they can solve that, but I don't have the trust on that product because I don't know much about that, or I need reassurance about that. I mean, seeing other people like myself that they went through the same process and they basically use this product or service, that's going to help me to go through the line and say, okay, yeah, this customer testimonial kind of resonates, someone in a similar situation to me. Okay, this is a potential solution for me. And the social proof as well, like thinking of also especially B2B companies, if you have some clients there, I mean, no matter that, how big or small is the name, that kind of shows that, whoever is your first B2B client is, so whoever is your
Yeah.
potential B2B client are not going to be a guinea pig, they're
Yeah,
going to be a,
absolutely.
so
Yeah.
I think that's when we talk about focus on the why, so the pain point, or the benefit that we offer to sell that pain point.
Mm-hmm.
um, Using the testimonials from the customers and the social proof, that is very helpful. I mean, it's something that in some cases, people are really busy, like thinking, oh, we are building those features, we really have to scream about that. Sometimes it's about showing how other people are solving the problem with your product or service.
I'm so glad you brought up testimonials. I mean, obviously, me being in a service industry, clearly testimonials, based on many research that I read, it, it's the most important part, right behind the latest project that an agency have done. And obviously, I mean, we're talking about SaaS companies, not necessarily agency, but it just shows that across the marketing and sales, uh, like this credentials, uh, that trust is so vital. It's just mega important, really, and that's why you see all those logo sliders at the top of every page, because this is what you lead with. Look, other companies trusted us. You're okay. You won't get into a bed with a bum company. So that's great. I really appreciate the point that you've made about the content of a testimonial, in which you put the place where you put down the name of a person, the company they work for, the role,
Hmm.
that those people that left those testimonials are actually they represent the persona you're targeting with that particular page. That's really really important, because marketer can't really relate to CTO. They can relate to another marketer. So if you have the choice of testimonials, put the testimonials about marketers for marketers on the page made for marketers, right? It's all about marketers at this point, so keep it that way. I think that's something that people really skip on, and they I don't think they should, right?
No, absolutely. I mean, I think I mean, my hypothesis on that is that people, they feel like, oh well, yeah, they are our clients, so the companies we work, but why should feature on our website? I don't
Yeah.
know. I think also maybe I remember one example. One company was a bit skeptical to use it because look, we don't really want to give away who we work with, and so okay, but you're trying to get their competitors working with you,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
there is nothing secretive about this particular client and so on. But well, I think it's important to basically show by I mean other kind of cases that work quite well. But I think when you don't have a name on an industry is even more important. I mean, if thinking of like how the big companies they do, in many cases you can find clients that they work with, talking of B2B, but you don't see them on the homepage, like with the logos. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like they have a specific section for that, but it's mostly about for people that they are quite new. I mean, I remember my early days with Yaya Finance.
Mm-hmm.
We had this deal with Asda for kind of like buy now pay later for their website.
Yeah.
I mean, we really leveraged that, because also Asda is a big name as well,
Mm-hmm.
and it was I mean, a kind of like small project to start with, but we really leveraged that, and it gave us a lot of credibility, especially in an industry like fintech or financial services, where trust is even more important. We talk about money, security, and all of that. Also, I mean, can I jump into something connected with the design, because we tapped into that briefly
Mm-hmm.
before. I'm back to this kind of website committees we discussed before. And again, it's like, oh yeah, okay, I like this banner, but yeah, as you said, oh, let's change the color, the call to action button or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell to my clients that the difference between a good and great website is not the design. And I'm sorry if there's any designer in the room. It's about understanding the user psychology,
Mm.
because again, is what you want with the website is for people to take an action. And for that, again, you can have an amazing design that people say, oh, this is really nice. Oh, wow, they have a good kind of, like photographer or whatever that makes their nice pictures on the website, or, oh, wow, nice color, so very, very smooth. But if people, they don't take an action, I mean, you are basically losing a visitor. And, the website could be good for a display in terms of a designer's convention, but not for growing your business. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I say it's like, I would say it's going back to what we talked about in the last hour, which is making sure that you understand what your target audience is looking for, and shape your narrative around that, in terms like, okay, we are solving your problem. I mean, it's if your problem actually, maybe if it's a B2B company that offers more leads
Mm-hmm.
to other industries, it's like, look, we grow your business, and like with they don't care about the kinds of different features or whatever, and you have to really make sure that that's factor on your website, and that helps to get that. Yeah, so focus on the why, not on the what.
Absolutely. Why and how is also important. People often would ask me, okay, you do this, you can help us with that, but how? Like, what's your process? What's that? And then you have to go into the tools. But I'm so glad you brought up the digital psychology, and you're completely right. This isn't just the domain of a design. It's it's like a north star for the whole thing, and it all starts with the copy, in my opinion. And once you have the copy, literally open the blank Word document, or Google document, now is the fancier tool, and you type in what you want to say, and then you kind of fit that into a wireframe, then you test it, and then you put colors on it, just so it's the copy that leads the user, the words, the merit, and the design elevates it. And I think that's how it should be. How do you feel about that statement? First, copy first, design later.
Yeah, I mean, we always heard this copy or content is king and queen. I mean,
Yeah.
definitely that's, I fully agree. And also, I mean, you have to keep it simple as well when it comes to the copy, in a way that you have to use the same language that your audience is doing, and make sure that you don't have any kind of like jargon or lingo that can put people away. I mean, of course, if it's a very technical product, you can do that, but thinking of more mundane products, you definitely have to do it. But yeah, I agree with that view. It's again, if the copy doesn't make sense, people will run away.
I agree. Yeah, 100% agree. And every time where we get approached by a copywriter who wants Figma designs so they can fit the copy in, we see the red flag. It's not the natural way. It's, I don't know. There's the power behind the written word, and I think if you can get me engaged with a plain A4 sheet of paper and just black text on it, imagine what you can do if you can actually put color on it and emphasize on headings, etc., etc. That's, I think that's the healthiest approach in my opinion, and keeps that digital psychology going for you all the way. Okay, I have two more questions. Okay. Now, we talked about the USP, hero banner, pricing page, the testimonial slider, all of that. Can you can you build a landing page for me with your words? How would a landing page look if you were to build one that's, like, I guess, the most effective, whatever that means, just on the top level?
Okay, that's an interesting question. Also, over a podcast, it's not that easy.
Yeah, sure. No,
But
yeah,
but
let's
I would
try.
say, again, I would keep it simple in a way that the hero would be like focus on that kind of problem of the why.
Yeah, the
Then
positioning, I guess, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
Then very short description in terms of the how, social proof and testimonials, and call to action. You don't need to have just one call to action, so you can have call to action after every section, but try to keep it consistent. In terms if the call to action is sign up now for free, or like um, depending on the complexity of the product, you can have that. So I would say that is you don't need to have a very complex landing page, because also, I mean, you mentioned Hotjar before. I mean,
Yeah.
many of my clients are surprised when they go to Hotjar and they see the people, they don't scroll down, and of course make sure it's also mobile responsive, because most of the traffic comes from mobile these days. But that's the thing, you can build the rest of the website when it comes to to explain more about the narrative and give more detail, but make sure that again, back to that own real estate that you got. Make sure that people, they don't drift, and they keep the fundamental, which is why, how, social proof, and that call to action that has to be.
There's so to follow up on that, we have the hero banner, and that is with the value proposition, and it explains the how, and it has a clear call to action, perhaps some kind of a note that, I don't know, no credit card required, some kind of objection fighter there, and then obviously we want to have social proof, which is probably Lego sliders, logo sliders, and then below that,
And testimonials,
yeah, that testimonials definitely. And one thing you actually suggested to me that I do is to have the sort of like a calculator or any kind of return on investment showcase. Have you got example of those? What beside a calculator we could have, or maybe what kind of calculator we could have over there?
Yeah, I mean, of course, it depends really a lot on your product, but basically, if let's say that you have a software for HR that is helping to save an ATS platform, which HR recruiters they use. I mean, those can be quite pricey, but not only that, sometimes it takes quite a lot of time for recruiters to go through CVs and find the right CVs. So with one HR company I work with, we have a calculator, which it was basically say, look, you have X number of hires per year. That costs you X with an ATS. I mean, you will save X money with our solution, because that will effectively is more is cheaper on that way. But also, we kind of estimate based on the existing customers the number of hours that they save, and that was even more powerful. Or the number of CVs they can process basically over a certain period. So that's it's back to the problem you are solving. In this particular example, the main problem they were solving was time, but also money.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, that's obviously a different conversation. But when it comes to target people, if you target you can target financial directors and CFOs. They care more about the money than about the time, because they have to pay the bills, and that was also quite useful as well for lead generation, which obviously that's a different topic. So yeah, calculator is good for those companies. Calculator is part of the why, and so it's
It
part of the
is.
narrative. Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, it can definitely, you can have it on the homepage. Obviously, some business, they maybe doesn't make much more sense. If we think back to Spotify, they could basically say, look, we offer X number of songs from X number of singers. So every day we got 2,000 new songs, and like counting on and so on. So yeah.
Yeah, if you have hard data, that kind of calculator is extremely helpful, and it can help the user almost like touch the difference, and it's a powerful call to action in a way as well. Um,
Yeah,
the
to
pro
see, I mean, seeing is believing.
It is.
People, yeah,
Yeah, it
exactly.
is, and it directly ties back to the value is in the eye of beholder, right? And it's all about the perception. But sometimes it's like, for example, my company, we are service based. Like, there are so many variables that are barely measured, I guess, that we couldn't make that math, right? So you have to wage who are you talking to, just like you said, what kind of proof they looking for to make the decision. And if that decision maker is, for example, CFO, they obviously talk money. So you just do the math in front of them and you should have their vote. And that should be simple as that. So one thing I would add to that landing page, and
Mm-hmm.
you can tell me if you agree, is some kind of contrast before and after. And so one section could be the old way, like what is it like right now, what they're experiencing right now, is just so you can connect with the users, so you can uh, show that empathy towards their pain points, their problems. And right underneath, you show them your way. Why is it better? How you help with those pain points. And I appreciate how this is a follow up to the hero section,
Mm-hmm.
but it's more detailed. So that's that. These two, I like the contrast before and after. You want something? I can see you want something. You have something to say about that.
Yeah, no, I didn't want to interrupt you, but when you were telling that, I was thinking of
Yeah.
those ads online or on the newspapers, like those people who go to the hair transplant, and before and after, so no hair, and then they go.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Also, yeah.
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 That no, but you're
Perfect.
completely right. It's, of course, it's again, it's about tapping into that pain point that
Right.
people got.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
so
about showing you
definitely.
understand.
Yeah, I think that's a completely valid way to do it. I mean, of course, you have to make sure you don't overwhelm with too many examples
Oh
of way
yeah.
to show the before and after. But yeah, definitely, if it's a visual way to even with copy, just to get that in front of the web visitor,
Yeah.
by all means, go for it. I mean, that's something very valid. But yeah, sorry, I was, when you were talking that and the before and after, I was thinking, oh, when you go on the tube and you see those ads, like
Yeah.
people
I've seen too
or
many
with the
of
dental
those.
things, and but yeah,
Absolutely.
they work. I mean, that's
True.
been around for 100 years because they work. People, they want to see. Oh, and again, it's back to the social proof and testimonials. I mean,
Hmm.
that's a testimonial. Is you see a random face on the tube with terrible teeth,
Yeah.
and then the same face with amazing teeth
Amazing. Of course.
next to it,
Yeah.
and that's another way is to say, like, hey, look, this works. Do
Sure.
it, man. Don't think. Get
Don't
your teeth or
hesitate.
your hair, or get your
Yeah.
hair done with us.
Yeah, absolutely. We on our website we have before and after page, and what we did, we fished out the testimonials, well, parts of testimonials from past customers that describe their previous experience with any web design agency, and also then we followed up with after they joined NerdCow and what their experience is like. So again, contrast. It doesn't have to be in bulks, like all the bad and then all the good. You could literally mix them up, problem solution within one section, then second problem, second solution, the second section, and you just sort of build up on that. And one thing I would also add, maybe, but I really learned from user testing that people search for it, the process. and like the I guess the purchase experience. Okay, so I'm on the homepage, and let's say I like it, and what happens next? Do I like do I talk to someone? Do I onboard myself? When do you ask for money? Like this kind of transparency up front, I think goes the long way, especially during
Mm.
a long sales cycle.
Yeah,
Like I appreciate if you sell Spotify, you're talking to the consumer, the decision maker itself, so they can just literally sign up and see what it's like. But when it comes to huge investments, which are websites, but also, I mean, huge softwares like Salesforce, I mean, they probably have 10,000s of companies who pay millions a month
mm,
for this for their service. It goes a long way to say this is what it's gonna be like. It's fine. It's gonna work out just perfect. Okay. So I don't know. So just to sum up, we have a landing page with the hero banner, social proof, some kind of before and after, maybe the process how it works,
how, yeah,
yeah, and the ROI with call to action,
yeah.
and you should be good,
Yeah, I
right?
mean, you don't have to overcomplicate because it's very tempting to start to put a lot of elements, but that's why you have other pages and so on.
Absolutely, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. That's very good point. Don't put everything on one page. Let the page have one particular point to convey, just like your LinkedIn post. Okay, just keep it concise to the point, and if someone wants to follow up, let them roam free and find the information for themselves.
correct.
That'd be the advice. Look, you've worked for huge companies, so as a final question, are there any lessons from big companies like Nike and all the large companies that have the brand going for them that small companies could use for themselves without missing the mark?
Yeah, that's a good point because we talk about some lessons in the last hour, and we talk about, I mean, from pricing to landing pages and everything else.
Sure.
I mean, those big companies, they spent millions to learn
Hmm.
those lessons. Many of them, they know they've been doing that for many years. So I think the main lesson they can learn, I mean, as a founder,
Hmm.
the main lesson for a founder is that they can also implement the same principles today
Hmm.
that those big companies, but they don't have to go through the mistakes and the pains and so on, because even the big names that they are doing really good today, many of them they have to go through pain from websites that were not really serving the purpose and so on. So I would say that my tip to those founders is, of course, copy from those big names, but just make sure that your reality is very different. Back to what we discussed before. I
Yeah.
mean, you cannot have a hero is, oh, just do it. I mean, Nike can do it. You cannot do
It
it.
wouldn't make sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it is about again, and the other tip is make sure that your website is again has to be the strongest and the hardest working salesperson you got in the team. It's going to be there 24/7, never gets a sick day, never gets holidays, and so on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not a I mean, it's a dynamic product that you got. The website, it's not something like, okay, you do once and that's all until in a few years something say, oh, we have to refresh the website because it's a bit outdated. I mean, the website is not a business card, as I would say before. Is a dynamic lead machine, so you have to make sure that works. So back to those big names, yeah, is make sure that you keep it simple, because at the end of the day, it's many founders they try to share too much, that they overcomplicate the website, and people they don't really get the value. And founders and marketing leaders, sometimes they forget that, yeah, they are living and breathing their business, but the web visitors, they don't really know about the business and they don't have the time to explore about that.
Hmm.
So that's why the 5 seconds rule. Make sure that in 5 seconds people they know what's the problem you're solving for them.
I think you raise a very valid point. You as a founder who, let's say, look up to Nike, for I mean, we keep bringing that up. It can be Spotify, it can be Zoom, like any company that is big. You have to ground everything you learn from them in your own reality, your own constraints. Take Stripe as an example. If you there was a podcast I listened to from with the Stripe founders. They said they spent like 2 weeks animating icons on the homepage. Just just like icons. Like, I mean, imagine if you take the developer's wage salary and use the 2 weeks wage just for icons. That's crazy expensive, man. That's really expensive investment. So you have to be sure you are prepared to make those investments, and that's why it's really important to focus on the important part, how they communicate the value, what's the maybe landing page layout, or where do they get traffic from, because that can tell you what kind of where the audience is, so you can go for them as well. So try to ground everything you see in your own reality. But circling back to the inspiration, that's exactly what you need. You go and see what other companies do, put it through your own filter as an inspiration, and then come up with your own unique plan, because you are unique. Your company is different, right? I mean, it's supposed to be. So try to not shoot yourself in the foot by blending in too much, by following someone too closely. Just
Yeah,
take that risk, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, because sometimes some founders they spread too thin, like by changing many things at once and so
Yeah.
on. So yeah, they have to look, as you said, looking through their own lens and making sure that the website is going to be their top salesperson, not the laziest employee they got.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, yeah, definitely. If guys, if you're listening, the main takeaway: website is your salesperson. So imagine that website being a person and talking to the customer. Question: does it make sense? If it does, you're good. So you should think it about that way, at least. That's how I think about it. Look, it's been such a pleasure to have you on here. I really appreciate your time. Is there anything we haven't talked about? Is there anything you could follow up on? Like, does anything come to mind?
Well, I mean, I love this topic, so I could talk for this for hours. So glad that you just stopped me
Absolutely.
now, because also I'm running out of voice. So apologize if I sound a bit rusty.
No, that's cool. Don't worry about it at all. I mean, you're doing great.
Excuse me. Yeah, no. So just to wrap up, I mean, I would make sure that yeah, as a takeaways as well, I would say that is focus on the why, the pain point,
Hmm.
not on the features.
Yeah,
Make sure that you are very agile with experimenting with the website, with pricing as well, and so on,
sure.
and really optimize the website for user experience. At the end of the day, you are building a funnel to get those visitors into your product. So yeah, and don't forget to have a very strong call to action.
Absolutely, and remember that website is also a research tool in a way that can feed back to the
Mm,
business and how you
yeah,
make product decision, business decision, where you invest money in marketing. So, uh, yeah, definitely worth your attention if
yeah,
you haven't paid attention yet.
yeah.
So,
Also, I mean, as I say, I'm very passionate about this particular topic. If anyone who is listening
mm,
wants to get in touch, I'm happy to have a call like we have now. Well, they can find me on LinkedIn, of course, Pablo Asensio, and then my business is 8% growth, so 8percentgrowth.com.
hmm. Okay,
Um,
I'll make
I,
sure to link to
mm,
everything in the notes. Absolutely. No, I'm sure there'll be people with questions, because as we established, it's a complicated subject. It
yeah,
really is. It's,
but it's super exciting. I told you, it's you can impact so much on a business with a website.
that's the
And
thing. Yeah, that's
yeah,
why I love websites,
yeah,
and that's why I guess I took my agency away from just coding and just designing more to the consultative level, because that's where the real work happens, in my opinion. That's where the brain is, and that's where the challenge is, in my opinion. And so that's where I want to be, and that's why I wanted to talk to you, to learn more from you, because you've walked down that road already. So hats off to you for taking your time to share it with us. I really
no,
appreciate it.
thanks for the invite, Thomas. Always a pleasure to speak with you.
Great. Thank you so much, Pablo. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Welcome back. Thank you so much for listening to my conversation with Pablo. If you liked it, please consider leaving a follow and sharing with a friend. I really appreciate it, and thank you. See you next time.